What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host Josh, and we are here for our 5 takeaways of the game we just watched between the US and Canada for the last game of the group stage, which sucked because we lost. So we're going to dissect that, because what it means is that we finished second in the group, which will play the first place team of the group with Costa Rica and Jamaica, and then we may, if we win that, get a date with Mexico. So it all depends. There's a whole bunch of different variables that are up in the air, but what we're here to do today is pick 5 takeaways from the match that we're going to discuss, and the first one is going to be an easy one, and it's going to be a slow start. You can't win a game against the US or any top team in CONCACAF when you concede 20 seconds in. It's very hard to do. Now, the opening 30, it's funny enough, because the US scored 20 seconds into the game, and then they dominated us for about 30 minutes. We couldn't string passes together in the midfield. We looked like we were just caught napping and weren't up for the game. And after that, we were able to turn it around. The damage was really done, and we weren't able to break it down. And having a start like that, especially just 20 seconds in, it took a easy little cut from Acosta to find the jet, put it right through the middle for a tap-in for more out on the side, and it just was not the start you wanted. And then not to be able to bounce back for that for an extra 30 minutes was frustrating, and it honestly looked like it was going to be done and dusted. But moving on to the second takeaways, I want to look at a little bit of the positive side too, because I'm very disappointed with this result, and I don't want to skip around a lot of the things. But speaking on to the first takeaway with the incredibly slow start, not being able to get up, not to the rhythm of the match until about 30 minutes plus in. But after that, we turned it around. In the opening 30, at one point, we were down 65 to 35% possession, and out of nowhere, we decided to play the game and play like we needed to, and started picking the pieces back up together and started playing like we were supposed to be starting from the off. And with that, we actually started creating chances, and we started having a run at them. In the States, kudos to them, because it's not easy conceding right away and then having to defend for the entire game. But they did that. They did it relatively well, and the pressure turned. And then the final possession was about 55 to 45 for us towards the end of the game. So it showed us actually starting to win some of these midfield duels again. I thought Liam Fraser had a really, really tough start to this match, but he built his way into the game, and I actually thought he had a pretty good game. Same with Samuel Piette, but that lack of finishing was there, and it was frustrating. But kudos to Canada for actually being able to turn this game around, because at one point, especially 30 minutes in, when we were already down by 1 and was just playing some atrocious football up there, we were able to actually pick ourselves up and move on. So I guess a credit to John Herdman with that. Which then leads me into my third takeaway, and I started noticing the change at something I was alluding to before the game, and it was something we talked to with Filippo and Pete, and it was how dangerous will Buchanan be if we flip him from the left wing back to the right wing back. So instead of running against Shaq, Maury gets to run against Sam Vines, and that's exactly what happened. Now, he was better against Sam Vines. Sam Vines, I thought, struggled a little bit, but Sam Vines still did pretty well against Buchanan, and for that switch to be super successful, we had to have Buchanan firing on all cylinders, and unfortunately, that just wasn't really the case. He had a lot of movement today. He had the ball, in my opinion, probably more than anybody else really on the pitch in terms of attacking players. He was running at Shaq Moore, and Shaq Moore did very well to shut him down quite a few times, and then he switched on over to the right. And when he switched to the right, a lot of you guys probably noticed it. When the ball was going up the left-hand side, it is often just reverted back. It would go up to Richie, he would put it over to Samuel Piette, who would then switch it back over, and everything had to go through Buchanan on that right-hand side, because they thought he was going to dominate Sam Vines, and Vines definitely did a good job in shutting him down. So I mean, kudos to him, but it was quite frustrating seeing that. But besides that, Buchanan still had a decent game. Now, he wasn't able to be completely successful with a lot of 1v1s, which got him a lot of looks in that Haiti and Martinique game, but he was still able to run at the defenders, and he was still able to create some stuff, which is just a positive light. Looked like he was maybe going to go down there for an injury at some point, but was able to come back, finish the game. It wasn't his perfect game for Buchanan, but I still thought he was very good and very involved. But it was worrying, and it was challenging to see how he'd be able to take it up a level with those 1v1s, and it was frustrating to see that he wasn't quite able to do it. Which then goes into my fourth takeaway, and this is a very touchy one. And it's not just about this game, and it's not that I'm saying this is the reason that Canada didn't get a result or anything like that, but I think it's something we should touch on because a lot of people in chat were, and it's just simply the inconsistency of the reffing in this match. Now, I'm trying to definitely reiterate, I'm not blaming the ref that we didn't get a result. I'm saying that both ways, for the US and Canada, this was not a consistently reffed match. I thought it was one of the worst inconsistently ref matches I've ever seen in terms of things that were being called on Canada, next thing weren't being called in the United States, and then vice versa. there's a bunch of fouls where I'm like, okay, well, that's a free kick for the States. It was waved on. And I just think CONCACAF has to figure out a way to get the game more consistent. And like I said, I'm trying to be very non-biased about this and tell you guys as it is. And I just saw way too much inconsistency both ways. And then, of course, there's the claims near the pens. I don't even want to get into that because, like I said, even if I thought it was a foul, I thought it was outside the box. So it wouldn't have been a pen. It wouldn't have been a game-changing decision. But I thought from little fouls that end up breaking up attacking plays, often were let go one way and often weren't the other. And it just made the game very frustrating. And it made, towards the end of the game, you saw some very frustrated players out there, arguably on both sides. And that was the reason why. And I just want to get your guys' take on that. And if you thought it was poorly ref, if you're a US fan, if you're a Canadian fan, let me know. I know that there'll be some different opinions on terms of the penalty, but just in the grand scheme of consistency, I thought both teams were kind of hard done by. Which then goes in my fifth and final takeaway, and it was the star-studded players. I mean, it's as easy as you like. Canada is built heavy on their top players. Now, we know Davies and David aren't here, but the big hitters in this tournament will be Stefan Eustachio, Kyle Larin, and of course, our boy Buchanan. Buchanan played the whole game, and like I said, he was kind of a hit or miss. He had good moments. You definitely want him on the pitch. Eustachio, we desperately missed him in that midfield, especially to start the game with. There was not a really commanding presence until Piet and Liam Fraser finally decided to play a little bit of football, and then were able to get some passes together and actually start dominating the midfield. But then Kyle Larin going out early on sucked. Hopefully he'll be okay. I'm assuming it was a little bit precautionary. Then also on top of that, Akinola went down early as well. It was supposed to be a dream start for him against another nation he could have represented, but wasn't really the case. Is what it is. But not having the star-studded players being able there in general or to play the entire game sucks. So hopefully, moving on to the quarters, we'll have obviously Stefan Eustachio there. Kyle Larin hopefully will be good to go. We'll have to see what happens with Akinola. And we'll regroup and we'll get going. Now, those are my 5 takeaways, guys. I am disappointed as a Canadian fan. I mean, this is the Canadian B squad versus a USC squad. I want to win. I want to win no matter what, no matter it's 2 A's going against each other. I always want to win. I'm very disappointed that we weren't able to get the result. It is what it is. It's a good learning experience. Hopefully the team can take something from it, get a little grit between their teeth, go into the quarters, find a way to move on and get to a semis where I think this team in this country needs to be. And I guess kudos to the States for getting the job done. It was a good game, but hopefully we'll be able to see them one other time in the tournament. So hopefully you guys liked our 5 takeaways on this. I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments below. So be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.